Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Zemo, the dad in DPS, and Expeditions are epic. But there are a lot of problems that need ironed out, and obviously that is expected with things that are on the PTS, but I feel like this isn't quite ready for even the PTS. Now, if you don't know already, it was finally launched again in the public test server, where we were able to test the new Expeditions Pitt stuff and go through several of the kind of things, meet the new NPCs, and kind of do whatever we needed to do. It was relatively fun. I did enjoy when I could get the things to work as intended, but that is the problem. There's things that aren't quite right yet. Now, there will be footage of the pit here, but ignore the fact that it is going to be for my live stream. I tried to get clear footage, but it didn't come out quite right, and I don't want to spend too much time going back in and out of the pit because, quite frankly, I know what the problem with it is already. Either way, don't forget to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. So, the general gist of how and what to do during the expeditions is you make your way to White Springs. Now, once you get to White Springs, you go inside and you are going to have to go through a series of NPC conversations in order to activate all the quests. Now, the biggest problem with that is the NPCs are absolutely freaking hideous. They look like some sort of horrifying wax model that's melted. Do you remember Mass Effect Andromeda when that game came out and people were complaining about the faces? This is next level terrifying crap. But, you know, other than that, it flows fairly normally from this kind of perspective. You speak to the NPCs, you do all your usual things, and you get your quests. Now, there are 3 daily quests that you're going to need to complete. The first one is essentially you need to cook a meal, and it'll tell you what items you need, it'll get you to go through a different rigmarole to make it, and then you will then give it to one of several NPCs, and I think you might get a better reward depending on what you do. It's very unclear. Now, the next one is to gather supplies. Now, what you're going to need to do is you are going to have to travel somewhere on the map, whether it is to Braxton Medical Facility like it was for me. You're going to pick up some plans, and then you are going to take them back to said NPC. And then the final one is basically for scrap. Tim experienced he needed to gather wood, I needed to gather steel, and it's literally just as simple as that. They are not very difficult to do, they are not hard to get out of the way, and once you've handed them in, you are pretty much good to go to launch your first expedition. Now, the thing I need to add about this is you can run as many expeditions as you physically want a day. However, you can only launch it yourself once on the main servers. On this, you can run it multiple times, and that's just the way it kind of works. But on live servers, you will only be able to launch this as the leader once. Outside of that, yeah, if you've got unlimited friends, you can run it unlimited times. So that is an advantage. So now we move on to the actual expedition itself. So what basically happens is once you've got the battery charged, you can then launch the vertibird. You do that from the map menu. There's a little new icon that pops up and you click on that, go in there, and it launches the event. Now, the problem we ran into is that essentially whoever was the leader spawns in the vertibird, activates the event, and then it kind of goes through its flow from that point on. Anybody else that tries to spawn in the event can enter a bugged state where they cannot actually enter the expedition, or rather they enter the expedition and there's no one else there, as if you've entered a separate instance. And the problem with this being is that you need to log out, log back in, and attempt to get back in. We tried different methods. We left the party, made new parties, joined the party again, multiple things, and not even logging out worked every time. And sometimes when you try and join the expedition, it'll say failed to join leader's expedition. So there is issues when it comes to that, and that's a fairly major issue. That could lose people out on their rewards. It could lose people their stamps, their items, all the stuff that they are in effect entitled to, and it just overall makes the experience annoying and frustrating at the same time. Now, how does the expedition kind of work? Well, first off, you land in the area, you speak to your contact Vex, and then you go through several kind of events. The first of which is to protect a bunch of saboteurs who are going to sabotage a bunch of locations, and you protect them from the random, like, raiders, let's just call them, because it's easier to describe them. They're going to come at you in power armor, they're going to come at you in regular armor. You just beat the crap out of them and protect these guys. Once you've finally get through that, you meet up once again with your handler, and from that point you're given another mission. This is where the optional objectives come in, and with what we had, you had to get Union supplies and you had to get not vault steel, steel scrap, like the steel scrap from the original Pitt DLC. Now, gathering these items will get you additional rewards. I'll be honest, I'm not sure what the additional rewards are. It was very vague and didn't actually explain that, and I didn't really see much rewards at the end anyway, therefore I'm really not sure how much that affected it. But essentially, yeah, you gather these optional objectives, and you also head inside the foundry, which is this big kind of forge area with molten lava everywhere. It looks really cool. There's enemies dotted around. It's quite a maze-like map. I think once you get used to it, it'll be easier, but going in, it was really confusing to an extent. And once you get in, you need to find 3 safes. Each one of these safes has a blueprint or a plan that you need to get, and once you get these plans, great. However, the plans are in safes, and they just give you a vague idea of where they are. They are here somewhere. So the biggest confusion was figuring out where those safes were. Now, I don't know if these safes will move around, if they are stationary, so every time we go in, they'll be in the exact same spot, but they are there, and it's basically the communist safes. So me and everyone else were looking for like wall safes, floor safes, you know, the generic kind of safe. Communist safes weren't on our radar, so we weren't looking for that color of item, which is kind of army green almost with a little bit of red on it. So once we figured it out, we're like, oh, and then they stuck up like a sore thumb. So figuring that out actually made a massive difference to it. Now, after you've done that, you are given another additional objective of blowing up some gas canisters. Now, these blow up quite literally right next to you, so if you are using melee and you are bloodied, you will die. In short, make sure you've got somebody with a gun, otherwise you're going to have problems. We were all, well, I say we were all, quite a few of us were running auto axes, which made it annoying. But yeah, you take out these things, you kill all the enemies as they are coming at you, and it's overall quite satisfying. It's a very kind of open-ended experience because you are in no rush, there's no timer, there's no nothing. You can just meander through, you can actually look around the place and sightsee, essentially, so you can take it in. And that's the kind of fundamental thing that differs from daily ops. You can physically take in the environment, you can look around, you can observe. And don't get me wrong with the daily ops, typically there are places you've been and you can go to, so you can go there outside of the daily ops. But with these places you can't, so it allows you and encourages you to an extent to explore. Don't get me wrong, your friends might get annoyed that you're not helping, but you can explore this map. Now, after this event part is completed, you head back to your handler, Wex, and Wickers, or Wex, whatever the name is. You head back to her, and she's being, or rather, the entire group is being attacked by trogs, and you're to fight off waves and waves of trogs. And once you've finished these trogs, that's pretty much the expedition done. You head back to the vertibird, and you get your rewards. It's fairly easy, fairly simple, and it's not that difficult to do at all. If you are the leader, you'll get 10 stamps, which is a new currency, and if you are one of the basically party members, you will get, I believe, 5. And this kind of gives you rewards that you're going to be able to get. These rewards range from plans that you can upgrade your God, what's it called? The rotating blade of death. You'll see it on the screen. My brain just, when it comes to naming things, I'm so bad. You've got plans for the power armor mods, and you've got different assorted kind of responder plans slash Pitt plans. So there is a lot of stuff. They will all be on screen, so you'll be able to kind of peruse them, pause the video to look at them more in depth. Overall, I think it's a breath of fresh air. I don't think it's like Daily Ops in the same way that a lot of things are like Daily Ops. There is a lot of emphasis that this is basically Daily Ops Mark II, and I can see the kind of the parallels with it. But at the same time, there is a lot of differences, and the biggest difference is that obviously it's time gated up the wazoo. You can't keep going back and doing this. You only get one rare reward a week, and the stamps are limited. But at the same time, if you go every single day in a week, and only for your one, you would get 70 stamps. But if you have 4 friends, then that would mean you would go 4 times a day. So that would increase your stamp count up to 25. So by the end of the week, I have to do math in my head. Well, basically, in 4 days, you'd have 100 stamps. 5 days, 125. 6 days, 150. 7 days, 175. This increases your chances of being able to do stuff. And this isn't limiting you to just that. You might have free friends you can play Daily Ops with. You might have 8 that want to take you every time. You might have 20, you might have 40. You might find random people that don't have any friends that want to go to the expeditions. And this is the kind of thing. You can get a lot of stamps out of this. You can farm it, and you can get the rewards. It's just a case of you cannot get the rare rewards like the Pitt plans, the armor plans. I'm assuming the weapons as well. You can't get these kind of things too quickly. You're kind of limited to them for 1 a week. It remains to be seen if you can get repeat plans. It remains to be seen if you can if there's a limit to what you can get, if you can sell the plans, all that kind of thing. The PTS kind of limits what you can do to an extent. But overall, I'm quite happy with what we're seeing, because we're only seeing a small amount of it. We're only seeing a couple of missions. We're not seeing all of the missions yet. And it kind of runs to the thought process that they will potentially add even more missions later on as well as other locations for these expeditions. So there is a lot of potential here, and a lot of things that I can see the growth of it. I can see a light at the end of the tunnel for them adding more and more content, because the Pitt area is small without feeling too small. It's a great little place to go and jump into and do stuff, and if they add another little place that's great to go jump into and do stuff, it'll just be, you know, hopefully a steady stream of content. Either way, I'm happy, but it's a long way from being ready to be launched. Hopefully, I'm wrong. That was today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. If you'd like to support the channel, there are several means. You can click that coffee button to donate to me directly. There's also our Teespring for the merch that you can see on screen right now, as well as our YouTube member button and the new Super Thanks button. So if you'd like to support the channel, don't forget to hit any of them. Now, on the note of our members, let's thank them. So, our chosen Undad members are Golty, Diofane Gaming, Bubbadoodle Mom, Scott S, and the BDP, and our Dad's Army members are Wyatt Blackburn, Wallers Me, Colin G, Piggy Knight, Matasbo, Devilman Games, Marcus Carrasco, Numpty, Sickleman, Anxiety Rangers, and Country Boy Stevens and James Colsrud. Big thanks to all of you. I hope you're all doing well. So hopefully you enjoyed the video, guys. As usual, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you all next time in the Wasteland.